day before Purnima, and we are starting a new topic. This month we are going to be discussing lost and found. What does it mean for the jiva to be lost in this material world? And what does it mean for Krishna to find us? And we will be discussing how to help Krishna find us. I know this, we will be focusing on the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where we get some clues about this. I mean, many chapters we get, but today we'll be discussing some things from the 6th chapter. Okay. I'll be also rapping a little bit, rap, to remember the words, just as Sanskrit has its power, rhyming words also have power on the mind. Okay, so I want to share why I called the April month and the Gita Connection theme to be lost and found. I was visiting one of my mentors, Savitri Mataji, and then I was doing a podcast with her, and at the end of the podcast, she started talking about how there is this little shop, little place near Radha Madhava entrance in Mayapur. There is a little place, lost and found. So she was saying how every day when she goes there, she stops there for a moment, looks at the lost and found, and she reminds herself that in this material world, we are lost and we are hoping to be found. And another important point that she was making was how Krishna lost us. Yeah. So the responsibility is not only on our part, but he lost us. So we losing ourselves is not our fault. It's actually kind of Krishna's fault. I mean, you know what I mean when I say fault. It means that we are not responsible for the material disease that we have. We're not responsible that we are lost in this world. But we are responsible to cure that disease. And we are responsible to help Krishna to find us. Okay. So as much as we don't belong in this material world, we are attached to our disease. We are attached to the symptoms. And so what happens is we are clinging to the symptoms of the disease that we don't want to let go. We are not allowing Krishna to find us. So this whole concept of lost and found is very evident for us, especially those of us who are practicing Bhakti Yoga, those of us who want to do that meditation. What is the meditation? Meditation of letting go of that being lost in this world, meditation of affirming ourselves to liberate ourselves from the bondage of whatever is keeping us in this material world. Because eternally we are Satchid Ananda, we are eternally full of knowledge, full of bliss. We know everything. At the same time, all these coverings is that disease, is that symptoms of us being lost. So this is Krishna telling Arjuna about what it means, the beginning and advanced yogis. He gives like a difference between that. And I want to read some of those verses, and I'm going to try to put the music for it. And I want to like speak slowly, rap it slowly, and then see how it works. Okay, you need to guide me a little bit in the beginning if the music is too loud, or is it okay? Maybe it's too loud. Can you hear me? To the music? Give me a thumbs up if you're able to hear me. Krishna saying, Arjuna, An honest soul who works without desire renounces this world more than one who never likes fire. If you're a yogi, your detached is already included. If you're only fake detachment, you'll just be deluded. Okay, we need to go. You're a yogi, you're actually detached, and it's already included. But if you're only fake detachment, you're only faking to be detached, then you'll just be deluded. To work without attachment helps you progress, and expert yogis learn to walk in perfect consciousness. Arjuna, use your mind to rise. Do not degrade yourself. Befriend your mind, or you will find it turns your life to hell. Control your restless mind, and it becomes your greatest friend. Neglect it, and the mind becomes your enemy again. Master, mind finds me, and feelings of me. Peace, praise, humiliation, joy, and sorrow will leave. Yogis, all is equal, be it pebbles, stones, or gold, for they find joy in knowledge and in self-control. And yogis in a higher place remember authentically a total stranger, cherished friend, or stalwart enemy. We put there a lot of relevant points. Now, like I said, we are lost. We're not responsible for that. But we need to, as Krishna is saying, use your mind. Arjuna, use your mind to rise. Do not degrade yourself. These are like mantras, we need to write this down, in school, when we would like err or make some mistake, the teacher would make us write, I will not do this again. So these are like things that we need to write again and again to remember our mind, like Shri, use your mind to rise, do not degrade yourself. And then write it down. Use my mind. See, I read this quote the other day, for those of you who saw it on my WhatsApp status also. It says, what is that? Life, about life. What is life? What is life? And then the answer was something like, life in itself is meaningless, but we actually use life to create meaning. So this is what Krishna is talking about here. The mind should be used to rise up, and the mind should be used to not degrade ourselves, because going down is very easy. To be lost and keep getting lost and keeping drowning into this black holes and looking for substitutes in this world, and one thing doesn't work out and we try to turn it another way. We try to feed ourselves like this and think that this other person is going to validate us, this other situation is going to make me feel better, maybe another change of a job is going to make me fulfill, maybe change of a relationship will make me fulfill. So we keep degrading ourselves. And it says, befriend your mind, or you will find it turns your life to hell. And how many of us have that experience? If we don't put the efforts to tell that mind, hello, my dear mind, you're lost. We need to allow Krishna to find you. And if we don't befriend the mind, it's definitely going to turn our life into hell. Okay, and then Krishna also gives other tips. Control your restless mind and becomes your greatest friend. This is a very famous thing, right? Don't make your mind an enemy, make your mind a friend. And then neglect it. If you neglect your mind, then your mind will again become an enemy. So a master of the mind finds me, and feeling harmony sees praise, humiliation, joy, and sorrow equally. Sukha dukkha same kritva labha labho jaya jayo. So a sage or a master of the mind, somebody who's working on mind control, we are learning to see every opportunity, every difficulty, every crisis as Krishna's plan. Whether it's praise, somebody's making me feel good today, somebody's making me feel humiliated today, I'm joyful today, I'm feeling sorrow today. If we can see Krishna's hand in all of these situations and realize that this is all an attempt of Krishna to find us back. The whole Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Krishna to find the Arjuna who was lost back. Krishna is attempting again and again and again to find us back, to retrieve us, to retrieve our memory. We are like paupers on the street looking for shelter in random people, strangers, whereas we belong to the millionaire's son, which is Krishna. And then he says more, he tell Krishna, this is just to give you like what Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna, is like he's scaring him, he's selling all kinds of things, which is like very, very impossible to do. Throw yourself in mystic yoga, go somewhere alone, control your mind, be focused, and give up most things you own. Be sure your space is sacred, and like yogis long ago, spread kushas for deerskin, sit neither high or low, securely seated, mind absorbed in perfect concentration. Be still and will your heart to purity through meditation. Support your head, your neck and back in solid upright pose, with eyes in steady focus on the ending of your nose. Relax yourself from celibacy. Let your thoughts distill. Feel deep, don't sleep, and seek me in your heart till you're fulfilled. Sorry, I missed that one word again. I'm sorry. Drill deep, don't sleep, and seek me in your heart till you're fulfilled. Maintaining the complete control of body, mind, and breath, a yogi ends all pain and comes to me upon his death. But one cannot do yoga if he fasts or if he's stuffed, or if he sleeps too much, or if he doesn't sleep enough. By moderating food and rest as well as work and play, the regulated yogi pushes miseries away. And then Krishna continues telling Arjuna, when you advance in yoga, you will enter into trance. Your mind will toe the line and give this simple life a chance. You'll burn just like a lamp within a cave with steady flame. Your mind immersed in spirit will help perseverant aim. Desire on hold will see the soul and boundless joy commence, as recognized and relished through renewed transcendent success. As recognized and relished through renewed transcendent sense. And as your joy keeps growing through life's painful intercessions, you come to value yoga as your number one possession. You easily continue with unprecedented grit as lust and guesswork fail to equal yoga's benefits. Intelligently, step by step, convinced and gaining traction, absorb yourself in spirit and ignore the mind's distraction. And when your flickering, unsteady mind roams here and there, wait. And when your flickering, unsteady minds roams here and there, regain control, protect your soul, and scrutinize with care. You will mind on me, your passions ease, you will feel great ecstasy. As karma fades, your soul displays your true identity. Then pure and purged of all pollution, perfectly advanced, you'll run away and stay with me in pleasurable trance. Wait for what Arjuna is going to say. Krishna is not done yet. Probably you're thinking the same thing that Arjuna is going to say. Then Krishna says, the yogi's vision is in the 6th chapter, text number 29 to 33. This is like a big punch on Arjuna's face. After Arjuna has been hearing all this, Krishna says about the yogi's vision. This is one of my favorite sections. A yogi sees me also. A yogi sees me in all souls and sees all souls in me. Indeed, I am in everything enlightened yogis see. As yogis see me everywhere and everything in me, I'm never lost to them, nor are they ever lost to me. Attending me within the heart, we'll blend in harmony. Fiascos in this world, not straight. I lost the tune there. Fiascos in this world won't frustrate our affinity. You then see other beings with a real quality, regardless if they're happy or immersed in misery. It's very beautiful. I need to pause here before I go to tell you what Arjuna responds. So, and Krishna is saying, a yogi sees me in all souls and sees all souls in me. Indeed, I'm in everything enlightened yogis see. This is the point of bhakti yoga. A bhakti yogi sees Krishna in sorrowful situations. He sees Krishna, oh, I'm feeling rejected. I'm feeling humiliated. We don't go and wallow in pain. A yogi says, this humiliation is meant to liberate me from this world and turn to Krishna. This humiliation is actually helping me to be found by Krishna. Because that's his purpose. The whole 18 chapters Krishna spoke so that Arjuna, who was completely lost in the beginning of Gita, 18 chapters of Gita, to basically convince Arjuna to be found by Krishna. And we're talking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead who was physically present with Arjuna, okay? We are not talking about somebody who was miles away and talking on Zoom, or we are not talking about not having that physical proximity and we are completely so lost that we don't know where is Krishna. We go into the temple, we see this marble deity, but we are not even able to find that connection. We're talking about Arjuna, who had physical presence of Krishna right next to him. He was completely lost. He was completely bewildered. Who do we think we are? That we should always find clarity. We should always find meaning. We should always find purpose. We should always be strong. We should never be vulnerable. We should never slip into our old habits. Who do we think we are? You see? So here, when Krishna says that yogi's vision is that a yogi sees me everywhere and everything in me, and I'm never lost to them, nor are they ever lost to me. The mind, the human limited mind, is to think that we will always be perfect, therefore, because actually this is a very, very, I don't want to use bad words here, but it's a very, very misunderstood concept. Even within our organization in ISKCON, we try to use this quotes where Krishna is speaking like this, saying, I'm never lost to them and they're never lost to me, in the sense that a devotee will never make a mistake. Somebody who is wearing saffron clothes and shaved head and tulsi mala in his neck is a perfection personified. Or we think that somebody who becomes a spiritual master will never, ever have any difficulty with following principles or chanting his rounds. It's not that. And the same applies to us. When we make a determination to become devotees, when we come into Krishna consciousness, we will be faced with challenges. We set a determination. We want to never get angry, and then we are told, of course, devotee never gets angry. He's always peaceful. He's always in harmony. See, Krishna says that yogi sees me everywhere and everything in me, which means that you will never be upset. He will be attending me within the heart. There'll always be, the person is never lost, which means that if you're not listening to your authorities, you are lost. If you are not chanting your rounds, you're lost. If you're not coming to temple programs, you're lost. Yes, we will lose ourselves because we are lost in this world. And sometimes we use religious authorities to blackmail us about our sense of being lost in this world, to torture ourselves more. And what happens and what is happening is a lot of times leaders, teachers are put on a pedestal, and they are responsible for it largely. They may present themselves as self-realized. They may say, no, I am very fallen myself, but I'm telling you these things, you should not do this, etc. But what happens is eventually they start to think, oh my God, everybody is respecting me and I have to be perfect. Even if I'm not perfect, I have to show that I'm perfect, because otherwise they will be disinspired if they come to know that, I'm watching. I'm talking about men because I have experience. Sometimes we see like a devotee came here, he was telling about men in saffron clothes, sannyasis, brahmacharis. They have problem with porn addiction. They have problem with so many other weaknesses, right? And then the person is sitting on the Vyasasana, and the person is being very heavy on women and other people. We've seen it over the years. This kind of things happen. I'm not saying women don't have weaknesses of senses. We also have different kinds of weaknesses. For women, it's usually negativity is our problem. And men, in order to cope the stress and pressure of the outside world, they pretend to be more perfect than what they are. And women, we try to take shelter in different ways of maybe being negative, or maybe by pretending that we are, feeling certain thing when we are not. No, we have different ways of reacting to situations, coping with our stress environments. Women become needy, women become dependent, women become like clingy and nagging. These are like weaknesses of a woman. And the men become pretentious, men become duplicitous, manipulative, etc. So what I'm saying here is this: fiascos of this world won't frustrate our affinity. Doesn't mean that you will be perfect and every day from morning till night you will do everything perfectly. And if you're not doing perfectly, it means you're not connected to Krishna. No, a yogi sees that, today my meditation was not very good, and that must be Krishna's will. He's making me humble. So, or maybe a yogi has, we are all yogis trying to work. Like I work on this NGO things, and I'm so stuck with certain legal documents and bank statements. They've been harassing me. So yes, it frustrates. It gives me a sense of frustration. I'm trying to help people. I'm helping poor people. I'm trying to educate people. I'm not doing some sense gratificatory thing. Why is this not happening? But here it says, Krishna says, fiascos in this world won't frustrate our affinity. So whatever is difficult circumstances, it will not, like if people don't listen to us, or our parents are giving us trouble, or maybe I may have people under me who are not listening to me, or maybe I have people above me who are not listening to my issues, right? That's frustrations of this world. But we are not going to think that we're not going to blame the other person. We are not going to get frustrated and let that affect our relation with Krishna. We're going to see this as Krishna's way of telling us how to see it as Krishna's hand. So yeah, I mean, this is a very different take on things. This is very much about emotional maturity, which women are definitely as mothers, as daughters. There was a saying like, women never heal, we just use concealers. I mean, it's a statement, but the point is this, that women, we go through so much stress and so much pressure and so much responsibility. And at the end of the day, there is much more of emotional maturity in a woman. And that's why within communities, within traditional sampradayas, we had Janava Mata, we had Ganga Mata Goswamini, we had Sita Thakurani, we had so many women gurus who were able to transfer that sense of emotional maturity which came along with Shastra. Because when we are only listening to men, when we are only depending on men, our psychology, our psyche, our what do you call it, subtle body, it works differently. So men speak often about renunciation, men speak often about philosophy from an intellectual point of view, theory, etc. So it's very difficult, very, 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 did I say very, very to the power of n, difficult for men to accept that they are lost. And the very nature of coming into spiritual life and coming into Krishna consciousness is a very vulnerable thing. You know what it means to come to spiritual life? It means to admit that my life doesn't work. The way I've been living my life, it doesn't work. I'm lost. And therefore we come into spiritual life. Why? Because we want to be vulnerable. We want to follow something which requires admittance that the way I've been living has failed. I am a failure. I am lost. I am vulnerable. I am weak, and I don't know how to take care of my life. But when we come into Krishna consciousness, yes, Krishna consciousness is perfect. Yes, the Guru Parampara is perfect. But we carry that conditioning. Every step, we find it difficult to be vulnerable and accept that I am lost, that I am vulnerable, I am not perfect. We keep wearing masks, we try to hold on to masks, but it's not sustainable. The masks will fall off at some point, it will melt at some point, and then what is inside when you squeeze an orange, what comes out? Yeah, orange juice. So when we are squeezed by circumstances and the mask falls off, what comes out is all those things we haven't worked on, all those vulnerabilities that we are trying to pretend to not be having. So we are actually very fortunate being women, because being in a woman's body, emotional maturity comes more easily. Being in a woman's body, being vulnerable to accepting spiritual life comes easier. Whereas the perspective of men, we need more and more and more women preachers within the movement, because our roles as wives, our roles as mothers, our roles as women guiding other women is very different dynamic than coming, the renunciation aspect, the theoretical philosophical aspects. No brahmachari, no sannyasi is giving classes on how to be a good wife or how to be a good mother, because they don't know about it. Because that's not their job. That's not what they're supposed to do. So we need more and more women preachers who can bring that element of emotional maturity within our movement, within our communities. And to not shy away from believing in yourself, to not shy away from that intuition that we've been naturally given with, to not shy away from that powerful source of feminine energy, which is knowing things. It may not be about jumping out there and making big decisions and pretending to be big, whatever, leader, but the leadership is in that emotional maturity of accepting and helping others say, I am lost, and Krishna lost me. Let me help Krishna to find me. I'm willing to help. I am willing that Krishna finds me. Okay. And this is a very important one. You want to know what Arjuna says? These are verses, 6th chapter, verses 33 to 46. Okay. Very interesting. Buckle up. You must be kidding, Krishna. This is way too hard for me. For all I find inside my mind is bipolarity. My mind is storm and stormy and refuses to give in. Control it, right? I'd rather try to wrestle with the wind. Krishna saying, Arjuna, be a fighter, man. It's hard to stop the mind, but be detached and practice, and you'll master it in time. If you won't even challenge it and your mind, if you won't even challenge it, your mind's already won. Just fight correctly, and perfection is guaranteed to come. Okay, this is the famous verse where Krishna speaks about abhyasena, right? About practice. Vilas Mancha, you want to tell the verse, please? You remember that?
It's okay. I didn't want to interrupt the flow. Yatyoto nishalati manaschanchalamasstiram tatastato niyamya. I don't know. I don't know the remaining lines, but I like yatyoto nishalati manaschanchalamasstiram.
Yes. Every time the mind is going here and there, bring the mind back, and you'll master it in time with detachment and practice. Every time. So again, it's not that a devotee's mind does not waver. It's not that a devotee is perfect and will act perfectly. Don't expect your senior devotees to always be perfect and not make mistakes. That is not the idea. Be forgiving. They are also as human as you are. It's just that they have been around for longer time and they may know more shlokas, they may know more scriptures. Sometimes you may be more mature than them. Many times. Because men mature much later, and men have this difficulty to take that sense of, and like position of humble, position of vulnerable position. It's very difficult for them, whether they are husbands or whether they are our Shiksha gurus, whether they are our friends. It doesn't matter who. Sometimes you may see men acting like animals, meaning they're very passionate and they're very egoistic, and they're trying to fight for things that you look at them and say, boy, grow up. In fact, in COVID time, the countries that were run by women, they made peace more, made peace meaning they controlled the whole COVID situation easier, because they were thinking more of harmony, they were thinking of how to collaborate with other countries. So they actually managed better because they were emotionally thinking of the goal, the final goal. But countries which were ruled by men, they created more conflict, they created more competition, they didn't handle as well as countries run by women. And this was a research after the COVID situation happened. So what does this show to us? It shows to us what Kunti Devi's prayers are, and what it's filled with. It shows us how Draupadi's example was. There is a strong power in emotional maturity. There is a strong power in being feminine. If only we can detach ourselves from the dependence that we have towards the men and remember that we are lost, and these men of this world cannot help us find us. Only Krishna can. And that sense of acceptance of I'm lost is very good as long as your bridge is with Krishna to find you. If you expect an ordinary man of this world, whether he's a man in saffron robes or a man who you marry, doesn't matter who, okay, somebody you put on a pedestal, somebody you expect to protect you, to guide you, the more we depend on men of this world who are just bag of bones, who have their own limitations, who have their own anarthas, they have their own egos, the more and more we do that, we are delaying that process of Krishna finding us. I've been realizing this so much in the last few days, that sometimes the more we accept how lost I am, and we attach our sense of helplessness and hopelessness and needing for protection, needing that clingy energy, the more we project that on the men of this world, the farther away we go from Krishna finding us. Because we become attached to, we cling to certain payoffs, certain crumbs of things that looks like we are being fed and nourished, certain substitutes we're trying to fill that gap with. And the more I allow Krishna, that's what means surrender. Surrender means allowing Krishna to find us in every circumstance. Okay. I want to hear what Arjuna says now. Arjuna is like totally, this is very relevant for us. What Arjuna is thinking is what our mind is thinking too. Suppose I take up yoga, but my ego wins the show. What fate awaits a yogi if he fails to make the pros? If I break vows and I am if I break vows, am I a cloud who roams the stratosphere? A homeless wreck on earth or heaven, loser of the year? Would I lose all my sense control, contentedness, and cash? Hey Krishna, only you can say what happens if I crash. Now this is Arjuna, right? That's also very nice Sanskrit verses there which speaks about Krishna is like, Arjuna is like, what if I fail? What if I crash? What if I become a wreck? What if I am the loser? What if I lose all my senses and sense control? And sorry, the music button. So, Arjuna becomes like, I don't want to try to do this because what if I fail? What if I fail? That's exactly has been my thought for the last few days. Yes, I'm lost. Yes, I am helpless. Yes, I'm vulnerable. And if I give up that, what's the word? What's the word? It starts from M that comes in between the two things.
Middle mediator.
Sorry, what's that?
Middle mediator. Talking about a person is mediator.
Yeah, something like, if I give up the mediating elements and factors of this world, if I give up depending on them, and then I try to jump over and depend on Krishna, what if I crash? What if I become a loser? What if I a homeless wreck on earth or heaven, loser of the year? This is like what essentially Arjuna is saying. And he's saying, suppose I take up yoga, but my ego wins the show. Okay, now I'm like in this position of strength. I'm thinking, you know what? I don't want to depend on I don't want to depend on the man. I want to depend on Krishna. I mean, I'm just saying man, but it could be anybody. It could be our Shiksha Guru. It could be somebody we are relying on. It could be our mother. It could be our husband. It could be your neighbor. It doesn't matter. But the idea here is, especially for women, the reflection is about our dependence on the man. Okay, so I'm sticking to that. Our dependence on the man. What if I stop depending on the man and I say, I don't need this person to make me feel validated. I don't need this person to help me practically. I will depend on Krishna. Okay. The fear is that what if I take up to this and my ego wins the show? What if it's only ego that I'm thinking like that? And then when I cannot make it and I'm going to crash. And then he says, what fate awaits a yogi if he fails to make the pros? If I break vows, am I a cloud who roams in the stratosphere? Arjuna is saying, like, if I start doing it, but then I fail, am I just going to become like a ghost, like a cloud in the sky, just roaming around, not finding any destination? Am I going to lose this mediating or this substitute? At least I have a substitute right now. At least I have a bamboo that I can hold on to. If I give this up, am I going to drown? What if I'm going to drown if I depend on Krishna? And a homeless wreck, like, am I going to become homeless, not in earth, not in heaven, lost, and then I become a loser? What about that? And then Arjuna is very wise. Hey, Krishna, only you can say what happens if I crash. Finally, he admits, right? So that's the truth for us too. Until we try, we never know. We wasted so many lifetimes, millions of lifetimes thinking in this way. What if I risk and Krishna doesn't catch me? What if I jump and have faith? And what if Krishna doesn't catch me? Right? This has been the mentality for lifetimes. One more, at least this one lifetime, let's dedicate, let's give our best. Why? Because this is what Krishna says. Relax, Arjuna, crash or not, one thing is understood. No evil can compete when you are reaching for the good. A messed up yogi goes to heaven, has a blast, and then returns to earth for birth in wealthy homes and tries again. His former yoga practice will attract him right away to flow again to yoga, not the ordinary way. And sometimes loser yogis take a birth after they fall. As children of great yogis, so they never lose it all. They start where they left off and then get quickly up to speed to carry on with yoga till they finally succeed. For many lives, such yogis strive to purify themselves until they master yoga and can kiss this world farewell. So yoga, even incomplete, will leave you far ahead of misers or ascetics or those stuck inside their heads. I like this one. Misers or aesthetics or those stuck inside their heads. Okay, let's pause here. I'm not sure if this attempt at rap is distracting, but these are very, very interesting concepts from Bhagavad Gita that we can help Krishna find us. Okay. Let's go to this. A messed up yogi goes to heaven, has a blast, and then returns to earth, right? Now you may say, well, I'm thinking about this lifetime. What in this lifetime I don't find shelter of a man? What if in this life I will not find a better shiksha guru than this person? What if in this lifetime I will not find this whoever that is abusive towards us? What if I lose that? We may think in that way, but how this is relevant is whatever actions are performed, whatever steps that we take towards the relation with our relationship with Krishna is not like any mundane relationship. Once we take one step, Krishna has already taken 10 steps towards us, and he's not an insecure human being who says, oh, you didn't contact me for the last 21 days, so I'm going to neglect you. He doesn't have insecurity problem. And time is very relative. For Krishna, he has eternity. He's waiting for us. And him finding us sooner or later is it's a matter of perspective. For us, it's like, oh my God, I can forget, I can lose this lifetime, I don't know what will happen next lifetime. But when we take that effort today, that one prayer, my grandmother often says that even if you offer one flower to Krishna, he's never going to forget your debt. He will never keep his debt. He will immediately repay you back. If Krishna is going to repay a debt of one flower, what to speak of a heartfelt prayer? What to speak of us making that effort consciously to skip those parameters of mediating energies, or those crumbs, or those substitutes. I keep forgetting the word substitute. Those substitutes I'm trying to find in this world. The substitute to Krishna does not exist. The sooner I understand that, and Krishna is going to find me sooner. And the more I keep putting my faith in these substitutes, energies, substitute people, substitute goals, any amount of substitutes of this world is not sufficient to make me fulfilled. Even a momentary fulfillment that we can gain by opening our hearts and praying cannot be gained by all the substitutes of this entire universe. And this is not my words, this is the words of Krishna in Mahabharata. He tells that to Duryodhana. He says that all the land of this world, all the wealth of this world is not going to be enough. Because Duryodhana was like, he didn't want to give enough land to stick a pin. He didn't want to give like that much land he didn't want to give. Right? Why? Because his insecurity was so humongous. He was such a huge insecurity, such a black hole of insecurity, that he kept feeling a sense of lack. It's not enough. So Krishna says in Mahabharata, the whole thing, I don't know if it was Krishna or somebody, says in regards to Duryodhana that even if he has all the women in the world, right, all the cows, all the wealth, all opulences, everything, it's still not enough. And the same thing for us. Draupadi had 5 husbands, 5 most powerful husbands, and she still didn't feel protected. So if essentially I have a problem with feeling lack of security, lack of protection, if I have a problem finding my sense of self-worth, and if I have a problem in allowing Krishna to find me through all these substitutes, if I'm allowing all these substitutes to get in the way, those substitutes, how can the very same substitutes which is keeping me away from finding Krishna, from Krishna finding me, how can they ever quench my thirst? It is impossible. So this is the prayer also of Pingala. When she speaks in Bhagavatam, she says that Santam samipe ramanam rati pradam vita pradam nityam imam vihaya akamadam dukkha bhayadi shoka moha pradam tuchamaham bhajena. So she's like frustrated. She's done looking for substitutes. She's done looking for those temporary connections that is filling that gap of that place that we are actually needing Krishna. And what is what is the consequence of relying on those substitutes? What is the consequence? The consequences are dukkha, bhaya, sadness, misery, fear, delusion, illusion, and a complete sense of loss of identity. We lose ourselves again. And when we lose ourselves, it becomes difficult for Krishna to find us. He's always trying. He never gives up. Okay, he never ever gives up. He actually says, where does he say? Okay, that's, I think it's a previous chapter. He says that, or is it in this chapter? Okay, we'll do that another week. But yeah, it's very. He gives a glimpse into. No, him. He gives a glimpse into him. I think it's in the fifth chapter. He gives that. Is it in the fifth chapter, or is it in the fourth chapter? Oh yeah, actually, it's in the. Third chapter. No, he's basically gives Krishna drops a hint about himself. Third chapter, text 20 to 24. And he speaks about, for me, there is no duty on the ocean, land, or sky. I have no needs, yet I proceed to keep humankind supplied. For if I fail to do my work because of my acclaim, the lazy population straight away would do the same. They'd fornicate at crazy rates, make bastards everywhere, and earthly peace would soon decrease and vanish in the air. I mean, Krishna is talking about, if Krishna doesn't set a good example, then people are going to just go to hell, do all sorts of crazy things. And yet he's saying that the common man will do whatever great men introduce, right? And then he's speaking about how he himself doesn't actually have any duties, but he's still trying to do this as a way to set example to the mankind. But that's Krishna, that's Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the point here I want to summarize and conclude is this. The final word on yoga, text 47 up to 6th chapter. You want music or no music? The music kind of distract. You want the music or no music? How many of you want music? Put the thumb up. Okay, at least 2 of you want music, so I'm going to go with music. Okay, how many of you don't want music? Put thumbs up. No music, just go without music. It's actually only 4 lines. Ashka doesn't want music. Anybody else? Okay. Okay, I got 3 votes for music. So 4 votes. So I'm going to go with music. I like music. It keeps me kind of in rhythm. Final word on yoga by Krishna in the 47th verse of the 6th chapter. And of all yogis, one with faith who keeps me on his mind, affectionately serving me in every place and time. Though sometimes desist as twisted or as I don't know what that means, psychophantic minion. Though sometimes dies as twisted or a psychophantic minion, surpasses other yogis by a mile in my opinion. Okay, what does that mean? Means, from my understanding, actually other people also can chime in. Okay, please participate in this effort of trying to find meaning, trying to help our walls break down so Krishna can find us. Okay, help me in this. So from what I understand, one who keeps faith, one with faith who keeps me on his mind, affectionately serving me in every place and time, though sometimes that person is, I think that's, what is that verse, Vilas Manjari? The one which says that even if the yogi, even if he falls down, even if something, he's still way ahead of other yogis. Okay, I can't remember that Sanskrit. I have the Gita here. I can look for that verse. 7. Okay. Yeah. Well, this is one of the verses. Yoginam api sarvesham adgate nantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukto tamo matah. And of all the yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. Okay, this one is the previous verse, 46. This is a translation. A yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empirist, and greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. So these two verses together gives us that clue. Oh, here is that verse. This is from Bhagavatam, okay? This was the verse I was looking for. Ya esham purusham sakshat atma prabhavam ishwaram na bhajantya avajananti sthanat brashtat patanyadha. Anyone who does not render service and neglects his duty unto the primeval Lord, who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. In other words, being engaged in service is more important. Failing to do this, he falls down. So becoming a yogi separated from being a devotee of the Lord is useless. So faith in the Lord, that circumstances, fall downs, our weaknesses, us not being perfect in our sadhana life, us having defamation, us going crazy and making mistakes, and other people going crazy making mistakes, which basically looks like a chaos, is fine. And we are, as long as we're going towards Krishna, means as long as we are remembering Krishna and we are rendering service to Krishna. And we are remembering that our real identity is our connection with Krishna. You know, when a child gets wounded or gets defamed and fails in the class, right? The parents still love the child. So that is our Krishna. So we don't stop doing our devotional service. You know, why I'm saying this is, I have seen several times within our organization, even Christians, but in ISKCON, we are very young movement. You know, we are only 50 years old. So we are very young compared to Christians and Muslims who are much longer, many hundreds and thousands of years. So in Krishna consciousness, a lot of times, like I was telling you, with men, we have seen a history of fall downs. A lot of people become sannyasis, they became sannyasi at very young age, etc. And then they fell down, they ran away with their disciples, they started having affairs, they started to steal money, they start to lose their minds, all kinds of things have happened. Why? Because of that inability to accept the fact that I am lost, even being a sadhaka. There are many ways, many perspectives that I am lost. And what happened when that happened, when they fell down, some people remained. I mean, like even in Mayapur, I see one proper disciple who was a sannyasi. He fell down, and then it's not that everything was lost. Nothing was lost. All the devotional service that person performed, it's still valid. And the person continued their devotional service. He got married. He has a child. The child is grown up now. And he's continuing devotional service and giving classes and still inspiring. But however, the biggest gurus that we have had within our organization, big ones that had fall downs in the past, they left Krishna consciousness. They were gone. And this is the problem. The problem is not that we are weak. The problem is we leave Krishna. Why that problem occurs is because as an organization, as an institution, as a parent, you're all, mothers, you're going to be mothers. If you establish rules and regulations over Krishna, then these things are possible. Children will start hating Krishna. Children will start looking at Krishna as a punisher. No, Krishna is a very, very loving father. So never ever put rules and regulations and being steady as a yogi above being a devotee. Being a devotee is always above all other mistakes and all other flaws that we do. Otherwise, a lot of times people leave Krishna consciousness because society attacks them. recently, like a while ago, there was some devotee who was in saffron. I mean, there are so many stories happening. And my Guru Maharaj in the Vyas Puja offering, like 2 days ago was my Guru Maharaj Vyas Puja. And in the Vyas Puja offering, he kept saying repeatedly, it's better to be a good grihastha than to be a bad brahmachari. Because there have been so many news going around that brahmacharis, guys in saffron clothes, are misusing the women that come because of them being brahmacharis. They are doing some things which are very bad. Okay, on different levels, gross level to subtle level. And my Guru Maharaj was emphasizing the point that if you're thinking about women, get married. Don't play with fire. And better to be a good grihastha than to be a bad brahmachari. So a lot of these things have been coming up, and some devotees came to me and said, please take care of our Matajis, because, you know, we've had so many cases of brahmacharis misusing the women. All these things happen when then when all these things start happening. Why it happens? Because, oh, being saffron, being a brahmachari, being a sannyasi is greater, right? Then it becomes that is greater than being a devotee, being humble, being, you know, that position cannot be kept long. It's not sustainable. So when the weaknesses happen, the same society which respects the person, honors the person, garlands the person, washes the feet of the person, as soon as they see that person go off, the saffron becomes white painted, the respect is gone, and they start talking about the person in a less respectful way, and they are given less admiration and adoration, right? And so the people become attached to the position and not to Krishna. So this thing goes on, and then the mask at one point or another has to fall off. And when it falls off, already the person has been focusing on maybe the color of the cloth, or the books that they have to read, or the number of rounds they have to chant. And it's not about their connection to Krishna. And then what happens? Boom, a big punch happens in their life. They lose their position as a leader. They may lose their position as the authority. They may lose their position in the saffron clothes. And when they hit that rock bottom, when you squeeze the orange, what comes out? If that person had focused too much on, you have to follow the rules, you have to do this, and if they had put up their relation with Krishna above, they cannot handle anymore that they are being seen as people who are fallen, or they are people who failed, they are the losers, all those things that Arjuna tells Krishna, right? They failed, and then they are losers, and then they are a wreck, and they are become homeless. Oh my God, I in ISKCON I was somebody, and if I'm not that anymore, who am I? So is the same for us. If we don't develop our relationship with Krishna, if our husband leaves us, if our mentors leave us, or mentors neglect us, or our husbands neglect us, our sense of identity, if we have not cultivated that on a sattva guna level, and we are jumping between rajas and sattva. If my husband makes me feel good, if my husband praises me, if my boyfriend messages me every day, or whatever, whoever, right? Then I am worthy. Otherwise, I'm not. Then we have put our faith in the substitute and not Krishna. But if we keep cultivating that relationship with Krishna, thank you for giving me this relationship, which is giving me some source of support, but you are my actual shelter. When we don't keep investing that faith and that hope in these mundane relationships, if we don't do it and we keep developing Krishna consciousness, doesn't matter we get defamed, doesn't matter if we fall down from our position, doesn't matter somebody takes away our authority and power, it doesn't matter what people call us or think about us. What we have invested in was the relationship with Krishna, and that will be our saving grace. So I spoke too much today. If anybody has any comments or questions.
I just want to comment that it's not the mentors, and I mean, of course, we should. I completely agree that nothing we should keep above our relationship with Krishna, including rules and even people who connect us to Krishna. The mistake I do as a person is, and I mean, that's why, like, it is said that we should see mentors and guru as messenger of Krishna. Our problem is not mentors. Our problem is seeing the mentors disconnected from Krishna. That's the problem I had. And as long as we see them as someone who is I mean, as long as our purpose and goal is fixed on this person is there in my life to help
Yeah.
me understand what it means to connect to Krishna. As long as I'm fixed in that consciousness, it's not a problem. If I disconnect the purpose and just see this person as someone who I'm see who where I repose my caring, lack of care I had, like lack of love, if I try to see that person as someone who is fulfilling those needs which were never fulfilled fully, the trust, the care, the understanding, then it becomes a problem. Yeah. But if we
Yeah.
see them as messenger of God, then it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, and I just want to add, I agree to that, and I just want to add that sometimes those people, right, takes away those people, maybe husband, maybe a mentor or whoever. Krishna may make us lose faith in them, or the person may neglect us or go away. That happens because, first of all, because we are dear to Krishna. He's trying to find us. He sees that we are too lost in that relationship. And then he puts some obstacles there, obstruction there, some frustration there, so that we realize what you're saying is happening, that we realize that we are not seeing Krishna sending them to us as, we are not seeing Krishna's presence in them. We're seeing them separate from Krishna. And when that hit happens, we're supposed to be grateful to Krishna. Thank you, Krishna, that this person is disappointing me or rejecting me or whatever, right? Then it makes us realize that Krishna loves me. And it makes us realize that whatever good I've got from this mentor, whatever good I got from my Shiksha Guru, I may not get it anymore from tomorrow, but it's valid. That is our way of showing gratitude to Krishna. Not that we have to throw away the baby with the bathwater, right? We have got benefit. We benefited from it. We accept that as a benefit. I mean, yeah, I don't know for how many of you this particular point, the way I am presenting is relevant. I'm just presenting it based on some conversation I have with some of my friends. I have two kinds of association. One association I have is about our dependence on men of this world. It could be father, it could be husband, right? That element is strong because of certain conversations I have. Another side is the mentor thing. I have that also. Sometimes I have over dependence on certain men who are mentors. Again, is men, you see. So there's always that expectation of the man should rescue us and protect us and save us. So I keep bringing up this because I need to keep a focus. I cannot be too broad. So I keep to this, but you apply, whoever is listening, you apply to whatever is your dependence. Okay. For some of you, food may be dependence. For some of you, social media may be dependent. For some of you, likes and shares may be dependence. For some of you, the husband's attention is your dependence. Or for some of you, the attention of your mentor may be the dependence, it depends. Okay, so apply it as you find it relevant. Any other questions, comments? Yeah, thank you, Neha. So Neha is speaking about how she relates to this. Sometimes she depended on her mentor and then her world, it looks like our worlds crash, right? I relate to that word when you said that my world crashed. I relate to that. I have felt it a few times. I'm able to realize that Krishna wants me to look everything not separate from him. Yes, exactly. Be grateful for whatever your mentor gave you. Be grateful for it. But also realize that you were dependent on the mentor, not about Krishna. So that's what Krishna is taking away. He's not taking away the help that Krishna gave. It's still with you. You still have it. You became who you are because of how Krishna helped you through her. Because we can go extremes, right? When somebody is not fulfilling our needs in the moment, we are too focused on the moment that we're not grateful for what we received. That should not be. That's like tamas. We don't throw the baby with the bathwater. Thank you. Anything else? Any other points anybody wants to share, or any questions or any validations? Validations for me, I meant. That's okay. Yes, so it's good, right? Mhm. Who is Zoom user? I need to understand if it's Sujata or is it Trisandhya? Trisandhya. Oh, I'm happy you stayed back. Yeah. Thank you. That was a validation. I wanted to hear. I'm fine. Thanks. It was wonderful, very enlivening. That's the thing. It's human to feel that need, and I'm getting it from you all. The fact that 9 of you showed up today. I mean, 8 of you showed up, and one left. Maybe I don't know. I'm just joking there. The point is that you all showed up. It means that Krishna is helping me to find my sense of worth and value in something meaningful. And otherwise, probably I'd be like chasing after attention or validation in wrong places. But instead, I'm trying to put my mind into no Shastra. And I get that from you all, you showing up, you listening, you giving comments, you asking questions, you sharing. It's I cannot express in words how grateful I am. And I feel that through you all, Krishna is finding me.
That's so sweet. I was driving. Every time you said you have thing, and I could not speak because I was driving. So I kind of pulled my car, and I've stopped so that I can, I wanted to even, say thank you so much. It was so beautiful. In fact, you were saying that, the things which are affecting you, you were able to bring about those points. I could relate to it. I could relate to both the points that you were talking about, like, or your dependence, the way you were focusing on how women are so much dependent on the men, because I think we feel like they complete us, that's the kind of image that we have grown up as a child, and like we need them for protection, we need them. I mean, that's the kind of culture at least I was brought up in. And you can't be alone, you can't, it's always like they are there's a requirement for protection, otherwise it's very difficult for a woman to just navigate.
I don't hear her anymore. I don't know if it's only me or
I can't hear Mataji too.
Taranir, we lost you. We lost you. You're lost to us.
You can hear? Yeah. Again, it goes in the mentors the same way. And then I love that point. In fact, that was also my realization. And then you just said the same thing. Like when somebody rejects you, not rejects you, like, is not giving attention or something. And then you feel like, oh, what happened? Then this realization came to me that, I'm seeing this person separate from Krishna. I'm not seeing this person that, Krishna is like allowing his grace and mercy to come through this person, but then I'm seeing this person separately from Krishna. And that's what Krishna has made me realize. That was my realization. And when you spoke about that, I was like, wow, this is like a double confirmation from Krishna. So I just love that. I really love that. Yeah, thank you so much. It's so true. And then that feeling was like, like how you said, Krishna loves us so much that he's giving these realizations. Otherwise, how would you even fathom it, or like, try to understand in your own limited fallen condition all these things. But then when you realize it's his intense love, that he wants you to be back with him, because of which he's making you go through all these things. Otherwise you'll be stuck. Oh, I'm so happy with this person. Oh, I'm happy under this person. It's just always like that. You're not even going to understand that truth, that feeling, that that love that we are trying to, that love has to be reposed in Krishna. Like how Srila Prabhupada says in other purpose in Chaitanya Charitamrita. We all want to love and to be loved, but that love has to be reposed with Krishna. That's the right way. That's the only and the right, what is it? The love that's the right position or the right place for that love. So that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And as Taruni was sharing, I'm thinking how it's beautiful to connect like these verses where Arjuna is saying, I can't do this. And Krishna is saying, it's okay. Nothing is lost. You still, if whatever you do right now is never going to be lost. Even if you try and fail, you've still proceeded, you've progressed. And so I was thinking how amazing it is that, like you said, Taruni Radha was saying, it's Krishna, right? We shouldn't see people as separate things, but if the Krishna is the goal, and Krishna is so merciful, so tolerant. We come back, we go, we come back, we go, we get lost and then we come. But he's always attempting to find us, always, in so many ways, sometimes joyfully, sometimes by making us get more lost. I'm just thinking how patient he is, how tolerant he is. It's just amazing. Oof, thank God he's such a secure person.
I like
And
9.30.
sorry,
Yeah, go
say that again.
You'll forget again whatever you're sharing.
Yeah, so I was saying about prayer. I was thinking that I may be in a moment of dilemma, confusion, and I don't know what to do in a relational situation. Maybe, like I was telling about, to not be ungrateful for what I have received. It doesn't mean that I have to give in and become codependent and continue waiting at the doors of people like a puppy and a dog, or licking their feet and crawling before another person. I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that, being a dog and a puppy at somebody's door. And I don't need to get into the cycle of abuse just because I'm grateful. But that's the fear. And that fear I can hand over to Krishna. And thank God he's not insecure and he's saying, you only come to me when you're in trouble. He's not saying that. He's happy even if I do that. He's happy. Yeah, go ahead. Lesson Manjari, sorry.
No, in this discussion, I remember two of my favorite verses, which is in context to this discussion. One is Apichetsu Durachara, that verse. I really like that verse very much. Like, the purport is so beautiful. The translation says, even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. So, as you were saying, the what we had done doesn't matter. Like, I lost, I failed, it doesn't matter as long as we are situated in the devotional service. I really like that verse 9.30.
Yes.
And another verse I like.
Yes.
Another verse I like this 4.19, where it says, one is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He's said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Gnana Agni. And Gnana in this context, chapter 4 is transcendental knowledge, which is devotional service. So with the one who is engaged in devotional service, all his karmic reactions are burnt. I really like that verse in this context. Yeah. So
Yes.
as you were saying, like, we should not over obsess on our mistakes and all those things, because as long as we have inclination and as long as I'm driven to take up to devotional service.
Yeah, exactly. That's the purpose. We should come closer to Krishna. That's something missing in our movement. We emphasize too much about what to be done, what to do, what not to do. But we are not so focused on developing a relation, Krishna. What do you mean putting rules means what? I don't understand the question.
Actually, although I'm on roadside, actually we were explaining that if we put rules, then our children will also learn the same thing and they will start hating Krishna. So what were those rules or boundaries?
Yes. Okay. Rules means, see, rules and regulations are good as long as it helps us to develop attachment to Krishna. So things such as, if you don't do this, Krishna will curse you, or if you don't do this, Krishna will not love you anymore, or if you do this, Krishna is going to punish you. You understand? Things which are like, it's not actually even rules, it's like false rules. It's like saying,
got it.
like fear causing, like in Christians they have a lot of this, you'll go to hell if you do this.
Got it.
So it's not about that. Yeah, not to force children to follow rules. Yeah. The point of rules is it's supposed to be liberating. It's supposed to free us. It's not something that is meant to punish us and torture us. And if we develop that, it will never be lost. Then we will not have fall downs. We will not have people putting masks, and then later on when they have trouble, they don't have anybody to go to. Oh my God, I've seen that happening so much. So we need to be balanced. We need to be balanced and focus on more on relationship with Krishna. Focus more. Remember, anything happens, Krishna is with you. If you remember that, anything, doesn't matter what. You fail the exams, you become a failure, all those things that Arjuna fears. What if I crash? What if I become a loser? What if I become a wreck? What if I become homeless? All those doubts that he has, Krishna still loves you. Krishna still loves you.
Yeah, imposing
So-
rules can make one mithyachari. Imposing rules on, and even ourselves can make one mithyachari. Externally, we may follow, and internally, I may indulge in contemplation.
Mithyachari means pretender. She's quoting from Bhagavad Gita that Krishna says you should not be a pretender. And you know what
Karmendriyani samyam.
Yeah. Karmendriyani samyamya.
Ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudatma mithyacharasa uchyate. The one who
So-
restrains the sense of action but still contemplates on the objects of sense gratification is considered false pretender.
Yes, that's why
Easily
my Guru
to
Maharaj
become
was
that.
focused.
It applies
Yeah.
to ourselves and children both. Children can put the mask of devotee by chanting, by doing everything you say, but internally you don't know where their heart is. Maybe on video games.
Yeah. No, but that's also for us, right? Not only kids. We could also, you know what I have seen? People who preach, let's say, people who preach against sex life. Okay, I'm just giving this example. It's been in the history, it's proven. That's why I'm saying this. Whether they were Christian preachers or Hare Krishna preachers, right? When they're very heavy about it, right? They're preaching against sex life, right? Whether they're sannyasis, whether they're brahmacharis, whatever they are. When they're very heavily negative about something, it's because that's their biggest problem. They are weak there. So they project it and then they go on kind of hitting that. And then it was found later that they were engaged in so much nonsense and they were trying to put other people in place like that. So anything extreme is unhealthy.
Like, dislike, both are binding.
Yeah.
Even dislike is not healthy. That's why
Yeah,
Krishna
well, you know,
keeps on
when
repeating
some people
equanimity.
exactly. And you know, some people hate women, right? They give so many classes against women or they're so focused about it. But it's another form of attachment only. It may
Yeah,
look like they
sometimes sometimes it feels like disliking that is pure, like disliking sex is pure. It feels
yeah.
like that. It's not. It's actually binding. We have to be equanimous. I mean, detached from either liking it or disliking. That's why Krishna keeps on repeating in Gita so many places. Equanimity, sukhe dukhe same krutva, labha labha jaya jaya, that everywhere, like equal in distress and happiness and honor, dishonor, like, dislike, victory, defeat. So many places he repeats because it binds. Because the trick is dislike of that attraction to opposite gender sounds pure. That's why they do that and we do that. Yeah.
It's sometimes subconscious, it's sometimes conscious, but yes, you're absolutely right how you put it. Dislike of something doesn't mean it's pure. Thank you so much. I'm going to end